Jochen Zeitz is retiring as CEO of Harley-Davidson, and as much as this would, on the surface, appear as a routine retirement of a very rich and successful man who wants to enjoy the fruits of his life's work, there is major drama going on at the highest levels of the company. Because one member of the board of directors, Jared Dourdeville, a partner at H Partners Management, which is an investment firm that owns over 8% of Harley-Davidson's stock, has just publicly resigned and exited the company with a strongly worded letter, I'll link it in the description, which outlined everything he saw wrong with company operations. That's why in today's video we will break down this criticism and speculate on the future of the motor company. So stay tuned, and as always, if you're enjoying the content, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and sharing it with friends. So Jochen Zeitz is retiring and will stay on until a successor is named. Zeitz, who has been on the board of directors since 2007 and took over as CEO from Matt Levatich in 2020, has previously done a very good job of turning around the sports apparel company Puma and building its reputation as a desirable high-end brand. When he took over at Harley-Davidson during the depths of panic and cratering sales in the midst of the pandemic, he ended Matt Levatich's More Roads to Harley-Davidson plan, which called for an aggressive expansion of the motorcycle lineup into new niches and demographics. Instead, Zeitz came up with the Hardwire plan, which doubled down on Harley's most profitable platforms, the Tourers, Cruisers, and Trikes. The street models, which were objectively not good bikes, were scrapped, as was the upcoming Bronx 975 naked sport bike. Later, the Evo 883 and 1200 Sportsters were also cancelled when they reportedly could not meet new Euro emission standards. Also, the lower-priced touring and Softail bikes were systematically eliminated from the lineup. Bikes like the Electroglide Standard, Standard Road King, as well as the Softail Standard and Sport Glide were dropped, with only the higher-priced options left. Two new Revolution Max liquid-cooled Sportsters were introduced, and while their performance and technology was undoubtedly superior to the outgoing models, they lacked the soul of the Evo Sporties. And of course, Harley-Davidson entered the adventure bike market with the Pan America, a bike which was competitive in price and performance with the other players in the space. Despite a slight recovery near the end of the pandemic, Harley-Davidson sales and profits have continued a steady decline since 2020, and the stock price as of the writing of this video sits at $21.50 US, literally the same price as it was in 1998. But those dollars in 1998 bought you a lot more than today's version. So, effectively, if you have held Harley-Davidson stock over the last 27 years, you have not only not made money with your investment, you have actually lost purchasing power because the 1998 dollar could buy you $1.77 worth of goods now, according to the inflation calculator. And personally, I think that inflation figure is grossly understated because it doesn't take housing prices into account. In other words, you basically lost half your investment by holding the stock. And as I stated earlier, board member and investor Jared Dourdeville came out with some scathing criticism of how the motor company has been run over the past few years and called for the immediate resignation of Jochen Zeitz as well as lead independent director Tom Linebarger and board member Sarah Leviston. He pointed out that under current leadership, Harley's stock price has severely underperformed in comparison to the S&P 500, the 500 largest US companies, and to its peers. As I stated earlier, Harley's price sits at the same level it occupied in 1998. In that same time, the S&P 500 is up 5x, meaning if you had put $1 in 1998, you would have $5 now, instead of only $1 with Harley stock. Furthermore, Dourdeville discusses the company's cultural depletion, including a large number of white-collar employees mainly working from home and being disconnected from the Harley community. Perhaps the most damning criticism is that Harley-Davidson lacks a winning culture. Ouch. This is due to rapid turnover in leadership, which has resulted in a lack of stability, accountability, and transparency. In other words, there's no feeling of community, and the leadership keeps switching like a revolving door, which is hurting people's relationships as well as the company's performance. Another thing hurting performance, according to the letter, is commercial execution. The Hardwire strategy called for reducing production and shrinking the backlog of inventory the dealers held to make the motorcycles more rare and exclusive. This was supposed to help Harley-Davidson become a premium brand. Unfortunately, after some initial success, sales of Harley's cruiser and tourer models are down 20%, and the excess inventory held by dealers is up from 99 days worth to 140 days worth since 2019. The letter also mentioned that many dealerships have closed because Harley Corporate prioritized its own profits over the health of its dealers. Additionally, Dorteville is concerned about the lack of entry-level models, pointing out that entry-level model sales are down 75%. That's understandable since the Streets and Evo Sportsters have been discontinued. Realistically, the Nightster, which is not selling well, is the only entry-level bike left, as the Sportster S costs $16,000 US. As the letter points out, younger riders are the lifeblood of the company, and failure to attract them spells trouble for the long-term health of the brand. There's a YouTube channel that's been saying that for the last 5 years. I can't remember its name. Oh well, I'm sure it'll come to me. Finally, there was the Robbie Starbuck controversy, where Harley came under scrutiny for its woke political stances and DEI policies. Most of this part of the letter is redacted, actually the most blacked out part of the entire document. But this was a very highly publicized affair, and I made a video about it at the time. Check it out in the top right corner for context. Dorteville states that the company mishandled the controversy, which is evidence that the front office was out of touch culturally with the customer base. In essence, the values of the executives are not the same as the values of the customers they serve. I'm adding this to the video during the editing process because Harley-Davidson just responded to Mr. Dorteville's claims. First, the company states that Mr. Dorteville never raised these concerns during his tenure on the board of directors, nor opposed the re-election of any directors, including the ones for whose resignation he is calling. Harley also claims that it has outperformed its peers. I take that as being other motorcycle companies, though what companies and by what metrics is not made clear in the statement. Ultimately, the true facts in this dispute are unclear to an outsider like me. So that's the letter and Harley's response, and it's significant that the letter was written by an insider who has been on the board for a while and has had time to observe the inner workings of the company. Though if Harley's claims are true, none of these things were brought up in the past. Some of the info is public, like sales numbers and profits. As a publicly traded company, Harley-Davidson has a responsibility to share that information with shareholders. And some of it is news to me, like white-collar employees working from home and being largely detached from the folks who actually make the bikes, though Harley claims that's standard practice and helps the company attract international talent. Truthfully, my feeling is that the motor company is in a very difficult position regardless of how it's managed. They are stuck between needing to attract younger customers with new, lower-priced products and serving their existing customers with the more traditional touring and softail platforms. Mismanagement may have accelerated the decline, but given the fact that the traditional Harley rider is aging and young people, if they're interested in riding motorcycles at all, now have more choices than ever, especially low-priced ones from India and China, I'm not sure if it's even possible for Harley to begin to reclaim its lost market share. For the company to regain its former glory, the management needs to thread that needle between introducing new and lower-cost models and continuing to refine the bread-and-butter expensive bikes it already has. It has to throw off the perception that Harleys are high-priced toys for accountants and dentists who want to play outlaw on the weekends, and it has to regain that edge, the rebel image which attracted those accountants and dentists to the brand in the first place. It has to align the values of the front office with the values of the customers, which, like it or not, are the values of Middle America. It essentially needs to combine the More Roads to Harley-Davidson plan with the Hardwire plan and somehow walk that tightrope and hope it doesn't go broke in the meantime. Impossible? Not at all. There is a way Harley-Davidson could do this, and I will outline how in the next video coming soon. We'll go over the models Harley needs to discontinue and introduce, how to handle its dealership and front office situation, and how to advertise its products to new and existing customers. Stay tuned to the channel for that video coming soon. And if you have any ideas on what the motor company could change during this transition in order to grow its sales, profits, and profile, please share your thoughts in the comments below. I might add them to the next video. Same if you want to comment on these revelations and developments. I'm not a Harley-Davidson hater, I am a fan who would love to see the company succeed. So let's brainstorm some ways in which it could do that. Stay tuned till the next video and we'll kick around some ideas that might just work. Hopefully some of them will be implemented. Till then, ride safe, check out some of these other videos which may be of interest to you. And may the spokes be with you.